Learn how to use the Navigator cookie enable property to detect whether the user's browser has cookies turned on. We want to look at how we can check the cookie status of our browser at any point in time in this example. And we're going to be making use of a Navigator object. The Navigator object holds a wealth of information about the browser itself, like its name, engine version, and current settings. So the property that we're going to be using alongside it, which is the cookie enable property, acts like a simple true or false switch, telling your code if the browser is currently allowed to store small pieces of data, cookies, on the user's device. So that is the example that we want to look at in this lesson. So let's look at that example to see if cookies actually enable on my own browser. So I'll make use of the document.getElement by ID methods. Demo.inner picture cookie enabled. So this is just a string, a text string. Now this is now the property Navigator dot cookie enabled. And now you can see the output. Navigator dot cookie enabled is true. One, this is a text part, which is a normal string, and this is the method that checks whether cookie is enabled or not in my browser. And because cookie is enabled, it simply returns true. So this example demonstrates how script automatically checks the browser privacy settings and instantly prints out true or false on the screen to let you know if your cookie storage is active. In my own case, my own cookie storage is active, and that is why you are seeing true. The cookie is actually a small piece of data that allows your browser to remember information. For example, if you have visited a site that allows you to store cookie, which allow you to remember information about that website. So that's the purpose. So it's a small piece of data that needs to be installed on the user's device. So if you look at the code, looking at this code, let's do a breakdown of each part of it. You see this Navigator.cookie enable. This is what queries the browser's configuration. So it returns a Boolean value, either true or false if cookies are permitted, or false if the user has blocked them. And the document.getElement by ID part targets the empty div class that we have, the div ID that we have here. It inserts the introductory text, which is what we have here, along with the Boolean result fetched by the Navigator object. And once it has the two, then it will print it to the screen. Here are a few key takeaways from these lessons. Number one, Navigator.cookie enable return a strict Boolean layout. So the output or the result can either be true or false. Number two, just a quick heads up on a tiny typo in your number two, sorry. Checking this property is incredibly useful before your website attempts to store user login session or shopping cart in a cookie. So giving your consent to things like this when you try to browse online or visit website is very important to determine what part of your information or what things on that website needs to be stored on your device. So this is how you can check your cookie status on your browser. So as it is, you can see that we did not even append the window object. What I'm saying is we didn't do something like this, window dot navigation enable. Of course, this is still going to work, but we can just use it this way. This way it is shorter and it's even more cleaner to just figure out whether cookie is enabled or cookie is not enabled in your browser. So we were able to safely drop the window prefix, as you can see in this example. And also, you can see that we did not have anything like this Windows. If you have something like this, it is not work. It is basically window and not Windows, because that can insert a tiny typo that can then disrupt the outcome or the result of what you are supposed to get. It is actually window and not Windows. So you can take it out and then you get the exact result and everything will still work perfectly fine.